Hello there, and welcome to this small guide on how to write a rubric and use it. Let me state here that I am by no means an expert, and this document is by no means a comprehensive document. I guess you need to do a further study on it. I have indicated two textbooks. One is this Brookhart, How to Create a News Rubric for Formative Assessment and Grading. Another one is a book on Stevens, a book by Stevens and Levi on Introduction to Rubrics. You may want to search for these two books and also search for this key phrase on Google. You will find a lot of material on writing rubrics and how to use them in evaluation. Let me start by giving a formal definition of what is a rubric for rigor, just for mathematical rigor. This rubric RS is for a subject S. R subject S is defined as a set of ordered triads. AI is a scoring attribute. TI is a set of threshold values. SI is a set of assigned scores. I know if we specify a definition something like this, people will make ugly face and may say unspeakable things. So we will try to specify what is rubric in other words, maybe by use of an example in subsequent slides. But the bottom line is a rubric is a set of ordered triads KITI SI. Before we give an example, let us see a bit more detail into as to why a rubric is needed. I'll try to be very brief, but let us try to agree here that this rubric is a useful thing and we'll see what is that use. This rubric is needed to assess the student in an unbiased way. Whoever may be the student, we will remove all the unbiased and evaluate him once we have a rubric, clearly written rubric available to us. And a second thing is when we let the student know what is this rubric, the student knows what to expect and will be better prepared for the examination, whether it's a laboratory or project or seminar evaluation. And also we note that this rubric is written for courses where evaluation is based on more than one criterion, such as a laboratory course, a project work, or a presentation. In such cases, we clearly identify which criterion is important, which criterion is important, how much score to assess, and such things will be made clear both to the student and to the teacher. And generally, this may not be needed for scoring written tests. In such cases, a solution scheme may be considered as a rubric for evaluation. We will start with a very practical consideration, a day-to-day life consideration as an example, and then we'll give another example of evaluating a laboratory course. Let us begin. Let us say that you are planning to buy a house. When you are planning to buy a house, you will perhaps consider several candidate houses and perhaps evaluate each one based on some consideration, find out the score of each of the houses, and perhaps pick the one that is most ideally suited to you. Let us consider how we do that. Typically, you will consider some aspects. Okay, let me specify what are those aspects. For example, we are interested in the location of the house. We are interested in what is the carpet area. We are interested in how well that location house is connected by bus, by train, by air, by water, or a combination of these, and so on. These three are only a representative sample. Just for examples, I have considered these three. There may be several others, such as instead of carpet area, you may also be interested in what is the total area of the land in which the building is there, whether the building is a single storied or double storied, whether there is a school nearby, whether there is a playground nearby, whether there is a market nearby, and so on. You may have several such aspects. I have considered only these three for simplicity. Later, if you want to do as an exercise, you may want to consider several others and try to build a rubric for it. For now, I'll consider these three and try to develop a rubric around these. And these criteria, they depend from person to person. If I write a rubric, I'll write it in one way, and if you give it to somebody else, he may write it in another way. He may have several other attributes. These we call attributes. A1 is an attribute, A2 is an attribute, A3 is an attribute. Okay. Now, what we try to do is we consider A1 and develop on it. What are the threshold values? What are the scores? We write A2 and what are the values and what are the threshold values and scores. So we'll start with A1. If you consider A1 location, whether it's in a big city, urban area, or a big city, rural area, outskirts, or a small city, urban area, a small city, rural area, near a slum, and so on. When we write these threshold values for A1, we write T11, T12, T13, T14, T15. Carefully note, here you have a 1 and the first subscript is 1 in each one of them. Okay. Once we write these threshold values, we say that T1 is a set of all these threshold values. A1 is the attribute, T1 is the set of threshold values. Okay. For simplicity, otherwise we can write here in place of T11 big city urban location. In place of T12 you can write big city rural location and so on. But writing those big phrases is tedious, time consuming. So we wrote T11, T12, T13, T14, T15. Once you write these threshold values, we will assign scores to each one of these values. For T11, there is one value, T12, T13, T14, T15. Typically, we arrange them either in increasing or decreasing order of desirability, so that you can use that scoring to pick up a house that you want to buy. So we assign scores. If it is T11, score is 5. If it is T12, score is 4, and so on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we say the set of scores is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, you can see 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5. The first subscript is 1. Once we understood it this far, we can kind of notice that the number of elements in P1, the number of elements in S1 is same. Once you do it for attribute 1, we do it for attribute 2. Maybe we can consider this one as a thing. It fits between 15,000, 1500 and 2000. It is 211. Between 2001 and 2500, above 2500, 3, and so on. Again, these are choices according to me. Somebody else may have more of these. You can have very big list of these. Okay. I have chosen this. You can choose something else. And so we say T2 is all this. And we chose, let us say, the scoring pattern as 2 is 50, 20, 10. Now carefully see that the scores 50, 20, 10 are assigned as per individual liking. It has nothing to do with any fixed thing. I chose these scores. You may choose something else, but you need to have a set score and define it beforehand. And the same thing applies to every house that we consider. So when you develop a rubric, the rubric applies to every candidate house that we consider. Notice carefully that the number of elements in set C1 and C2, they need not be the same. Similarly, when you consider the third attribute, we may consider by bus if it is connected to one, by train to by air, any two methods, one more attribute, by all the three, it is C35. Again, we choose the set C3 to be set of all these, and the scores we assign 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For example, I chose that if the house is very well connected, I give a maximum of 6 as indicated here. But others, especially those who do not want to have constant flow of relatives by all the methods, by bus, train, air, and sea. You don't want to have all the methods through which relatives may flow into your house. You may want to put very small values here and gradually increase. Or if somebody who wants relatives to visit their house constantly, he will have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically, what I mean to say is this order and this magnitude it depends on person to person. Okay. The number of elements in P3 need not be the same as P2 and need not be the same as in P1. We sum it all and say that the rubric for scoring a candidate house is given by this R for selecting a house is there are three attributes A1, A2, A3. So there are three elements in the set. Each element is a triad, that is ordered elements put in round brackets. A1, T1, S1, A2, T2, S2, A3, T3. There are three triads and we say n is equal to 3. Equation wise, this may be a rigorous one in practice. But this rubric generally is specified as a table. If you write it this way, people will make ugly faces and may even venture on to say things that are unspeakable. They don't like these. So this is generally specified as a table. We will show the table here. You see in the first column here, you have written attributes A1, A2, A3. Location, carpet area. The attribute A3 which represents connectedness by bus, train, air, NA2 or all. And for A1, we have written all the threshold values here. Urban, big city, T11, rural, big city, T12, small city, urban, T13, small city, rural, T14, slum area, T15. And we have given their scores. Again, as I said, these scores, they depend on how an individual person looks at these threshold values and assigns a value to them. I have chosen these values. Somebody else may choose another set of values. And a third person may choose maybe 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. So the magnitude and the order, either increasing, decreasing order, depends on person. Similarly, for attribute A2, I have written T21, T22, T23 and given values. So this is individual choice. Somebody may say 10, 20, 50. Others may say 1, 2, 5. It depends on individual choice and the situation. Similarly, for attribute A3, I have written all these threshold values and I have indicated the scores. So this is the preliminary work that you do. So you have one such template for each house. And for example, let us say that you looked at a candidate house and that house happens to fall in small city urban. So its net score is 3. And similarly for attribute 2 for the same house, you may have, let us say its area is 1800. It falls in this T211. So the score on attribute 2 is, and let us say you have any two methods, air, train, bus, corresponding to which the score is 5. So the net score for the candidate house is 553 is 58. 58 out of 61. How did we get this 61? The maximum for A21 is 5. The maximum for A2 is 50. The maximum for A3 is 6. So 6 plus 50 plus 5 is 61. So when you consider a candidate house 1, you give a score of 58. You may have another candidate house for which the score may be different from 58, or you may have yet another house for which the score is 61 out of 61. So if you have, let us say, 10 different candidate houses, for each house you build such a table. This table is what we call a rubric. If you are trying to build a rubric for a laboratory course, you will build one such table and evaluate all the students based on the table. It may appear to be a bit confusing whether you should have a max or min, or how should the threshold values be chosen. It might be confusing. The best thing would be to try to develop one or two such rubrics, discuss with others in the department, talk to head of the department or talk to the senior teachers, and then finalize one rubric. Just for completeness, I will try to show a rubric for one other lamp. I'll try to present it as a formula first, and then I'll show the table. Let us say the laboratory course is engineering workshop, where the student is given a job to do, which may be a carpentry job, which may be a fitting job, which may be a tinsmithy job, which may be a welding job, or whatever it is. Okay. For simplicity, here also I considered only 3 attributes. If you want to make it very refined rubric, you may want to consider A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, and so on. But generally, I would encourage to make life simpler rather than more complex. Do as much as you needed. If you think you need 4 attributes, keep it to 4. If you need just 3, keep it to 3. I think 3 is the bare minimum. Fourth, fifth, sixth, keep on making it higher order attributes only when you need. Yeah, I kept 3. 3 because in Sanskrit there is ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam. Singular, dual and plural. So for engineering workshop we consider these. And the attributes, let us say we consider are punctually, skill component, and error. Okay, how punctual he is, how much is his skill, what is his error percentage. Punctuality, I chose 3 again. Before time, less than 5 minutes late, greater than 5 minutes. Then regarding skill component, the second one is skill component. If he knows the tools that are needed for completing the job and can draw a sketch of the job along with correct dimensions, that is second attribute. Tools and drawing a sketch of the tool is first threshold value. Knowing the sketch, how to sketch it, how to sketch the tool, that is second. Third is what is the process, deciding on the exact sequence of steps, whether he knows that or not. Then this T3 will say accuracy. What is the given dimension, obtained dimension, the deviation. If it is less than 2%, that is one value, 2 to 5%, 5 to 10%, greater than 10%. So for corresponding to T1, we will develop a set S1, corresponding to T2, we will develop a set S2, corresponding to T3, we will develop a set S3. Note that T1 and S1 should have same number of elements, T2 and S2 should have same number of elements, T3 and S3 should have same number of elements. We present one sample set of scores. Okay, F1 is 20, 10, 0. So for before time, 20 points. Less than 5 minutes late, 10 points. Greater than 5 minutes late, 0. If this scoring pattern is known, students will try to maximize and he'll come on time. Similarly, if it is known that he needs to sketch the tool um, and if he needs to sketch the tools as well as the job keys, he will do this S2 very well. He will prepare well and come. Similarly, for S3, he knows that accuracy and he can decide for himself whether he wants to spend more time in achieving accuracy or more time in writing sketches and so on and so forth. We said when we do all this, finally we present the rubric in the form of a table as shown here. The first column again, the attributes punctuality, skill component, error. For punctuality, we have before 5 minutes, before time, less than 5 minutes late, more than 5 minutes late. Skill component, whether he can specify the tools and draw sketches, then sketch out the job piece accurately, and then if you can specify the process completely. Similarly, less than 2%, 2 to 5, 5 to 10, greater than 10%. Just to be complete in what I am planning to say, I have included this A2 as a cumulative attribute with partial score. What I mean, we will see as we go along. Okay, this A2 attribute, I've written it slightly different from A1 and A3. We'll see how it is different pretty soon. One student, okay, one candidate student. Let us say he is 5 minutes late to a particular lab session, and that score is 0. And let us say the same candidate, he knows how to draw the sketch of the tools very well and specify the tools. So you give a partial score 8. This is what I mean when I say partial score and cumulative. What is cumulative you will know. For example, that student can draw the sketch of the tools and the workpiece not so well. You may want to assign score of 7. Similarly, if the student can specify the process reasonably well, very well, okay, then partial score of 9. Your net score 8 plus 7 plus 9 is 24. That is what you enter here. Okay. So A2 attribute is a cumulative attribute where you can assign partial score. It is not either 10 or 0. It is a score that is within the range, within less than 10. Here also it is less than 10. Here also it is less than 10. You may have 10 here, 20 here, 30 here, and scores you may give 17 and 29, something like that. So you know what it is. 8 plus 7 plus 9, 24 is the cumulative score for attribute A2. Similarly, if the error is greater than 10%, you assign 10 here. So the total score is 24 plus 10, 34. This 100, how it came, carefully see here. The maximum here is 20. But because it is cumulative, the maximum is 10 plus 10, another 10 which sums up to 30. And the maximum value for attribute A3 is 50, and hence the sum is 20 plus 30, 50 plus 50, totaling to 100. So 34 out of 100. So what we say is we ask the student to prepare this table and bring it to each lab session in his record. When you are evaluating on the table, you indicate what is the score. This 34 is the final score. Is the score achieved by the student in that subject on that day of evaluation. So the student comes in each day with this table. You indicate what is the score received by the student. indicate in the score corresponding to the attribute, sum up and say this is the score. This is good for the teachers, good for the student also. Student also knows how he needs to score maximum. So that way, this template brings a lot of uniformity in evaluation and avoid all kinds of bias and encourage the student to achieve maximum score. You will push him in the direction of achieving maximum score. I hope it helps want to write a rubric very clearly because I have included all the elements. I strongly encourage you to go onto the net and search and read a little bit more. But we will follow this scheme at Seetham Arol. After you do all this, it's a homework. Consider any one laboratory course that you are trying to make a rubric for. After careful discussion with head of the department and or dean academics or senior teacher and identify the attributes, carefully find out what are the threshold values and scoring patterns, then draw the rubric table. Make everything as clear as possible. Accuracy, brevity, and clarity. Those are the three important attributes that we need to keep in mind while we are preparing room. That's all I have for now. Have a happy time of preparing rubric and start to evaluate. From this semester onwards, we are going to follow this rubric in all the laboratories. Thank you so much. Have a great day.